We're combining Alchemy and Provisioner for our second character. Both of these crafting skills are very, very easy to level. Provisioner you can do in an hour, maybe an hour and a half if you've got everything in place. Alchemy can take a little longer, but there tend to be more materials to accumulate. However, using some of the strategies that I've laid down for you, they're both very, very achievable. Now, one thing that bears mention, while they both level very, very quickly, offer similar benefits to your active characters and so on, combining these two will take an enormous amount of inventory space, so you need to be spending money on increasing these up to a good level here. I've got 108 inventory space at the moment, 100 from doing the upgrades, another 8 from the stable upgrade, spending 250 a day to increase my storage capacity by 1. I haven't really been that vigilant in doing it. I've only got 8 points so far. However, most of that space is filled up. What I will add though is that I have got these things here. These are all for the top level provisioning writs, and I do those every day because they give materials, and they've also got a chance of giving rare recipe fragments for the ambrosia. If you followed my advice from the blacksmithing video, then you will have been doing large harvests through T1 zones like Betnik, Dalmora, or Kanathi's Roost. You'll have been going through there on a high level character, and you'll have been accumulating your alchemy materials. Once you've got those in place, and you need to be doing writs. Writs are a really powerful tool for leveling, but secondly and more importantly, they will then become your most reliable source of materials for maxing out your alchemy. Now, interesting point to note is any character that's accepted a writ for alchemy does not actually have to make anything. As long as the component that they use to complete the writ has been crafted, then you can use it. So what I do is I take the character that I'm using as an actual alchemist, and I'll make a whole bunch of T1 sips of health, magicka and stamina, and I'll drop them in the bank, about 30 of each. And what I'll also do is I'll take the T1 materials that are required to complete the first level writs as well, the first tier writs, and I'll also drop them all in the bank. Now, when one of your alts accepts an alchemy writ, it'll tell them that they require a sip and a material. They go straight to the bank, they take one of that sip, and you'll notice that it updates automatically, and they take one of that material, they're ready to hand the writ in. Now, the benefit obviously for handing in writs is when you've done 8 writs on 8 different characters, you're going to get a nice little cash hit there. But the second, and more importantly, is the reward also comes in the form of a whole bunch of alchemical materials as well. You're going to get between 10 and 20, I believe it is, materials every time a writ is completed. And this is what's going to keep you all fully charged up. And once you've done this for about maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, you'll have a massive stockpile of materials sitting in your bank. Now, once you drop those in your bank, if they're not required to complete a T1 writ, then get your alchemist in there, withdraw them all, and store them, and that's going to keep space efficient for you in your bank. They'll also receive water as part of the reward as well, and that's going to stockpile up very, very quickly for your alchemist. This character's level 23. Now, if I go to my skills list and have a look, that's every skill filled in to capacity for provisioning. So all the boxes are ticked there. And if I go to alchemy, I'm missing out on keen eye reagents, but I don't use this character at all to harvest. And that's medicinal skill, everything filled out as well. Snake blood, I'm missing a few points in that, but with a little care when you're mixing potions, I haven't found downsiding the negative effects of potions to be a real problem for me. At least not so far anyway, not till I get to the higher levels, I suppose. Again, bear in mind, I've been adventuring on this character, but I've also completed a whole bunch of quests for factions that award additional points, and I've been very vigilant in going out and getting sky shards as well, sometimes going up into much higher zones to find those out of the way but easy to get. Sky shards are going to help me get those additional points. Now you're going to be creating a whole bunch of superfluous material, excess potions that you'll never use while you're leveling this skill out. So I strongly recommend that you get the chemistry skill, which will increase the yield every time you create something to 3 extra potions per crafting attempt instead of just 1. And when you go to provisioning, also chef, which creates a 3 additional quantity of food. and brewer here, which creates 3 additional extra servings of any drink that you complete as well. The simple reason being, once you've got every time you're producing way more than you normally would. And at the end, when you've got all these materials which you can't resell to anybody, which you're not going to use, just take them to a vendor and you know you're at least getting the best possible return on the money that you're spending and the effort that you're putting into what you're doing. Look, honestly, I'd put these skills ahead of connoisseur or gourmand, which aren't going to serve you until you're actually creating food that your characters are going to start using. And again, to the equivalents in alchemy as well. Medicinal use, it won't matter how long the potion lasts if you're not going to drink it. So this way you're getting the most money back for your efforts. You can plow that money back into crafting again. And a penny saved is a penny earned. You know the story. I'm adding a link right now for the tamrieljournal.com, and there's an excellent crafting a profession guide on alchemy which lists all of the properties that the particular components carry. Now when you first have a reagent sitting in this this menu here, all 4 of the properties will be blanked out. It invites you to muddle your way through and try different combinations until you actually unlock something. But when you consider the price of reagents and the amount of work required to unlock 4, it becomes a major pain in the ass. So what I did was I went to this guide, I had a look at the reagent properties that are already listed there. They are not dynamic, they do not change. So even if you're looking at Dragonthorn and all 4 properties are blanked out, it will have increased weapon power, lower armor, restore stamina, and weapon crit as its 4 properties. All you need to do is find another reagent that shares at least one of those properties, add the 2 to the reagents window here, add some water, hit the button, and what will happen is it will create the appropriate potion and it will unlock the properties on both of those reagents. On a particular item you'll have an achievement. When they're all unlocked, you'll get an additional achievement as well. But the best thing about it is when you can see all of the properties on each of the materials as well, it makes the whole potion crafting process so much easier. Once you've unlocked the laboratory use skill, you'll also get a 3rd reagent slot, which means that you can start to create some of the more interesting potions out there. Ones of it will increase your spell power, your spell crit, and also recharge back a bit of magicka every time you drink them. Other ones that'll increase your weapon crit or your base weapon damage. And we'll introduce a 3rd property as well. You can make potions that simply restore health, magicka, and stamina, or all in one hit. So make the effort to unlock all of these skills. It will make the whole leveling process for you so much easier than before. Don't be afraid to spend money on buying water. Water's the big determiner on the level of the potion that you can make. If I scroll up the top here and take a look here, see we've got all our different water types here. It determines the level of the potion that you're going to create. The second that you can make a level 30 potion, you only want to be making level 30 potions, and that way you know you're getting the best experience return from crafting that you possibly can get. Your go-to add-on for alchemy is multi-craft. It's a fantastic add-on, and what it does is exactly what it says. I've added 2 reagents. Look here, I can make a potion of stamina, level 30. That's the level of the water that I've put in there. And down the bottom here you'll see the slide bar. If I slide this up, I can make up to 28 in one operation. I'm going to drop it down to 12, 11, 10, hit craft, and then go make a cup of coffee. But I better do it quickly. I'm in a delve just west of Ebonheart at the moment on a level 47 healer. Why? Because this dungeon is full of baskets and barrels and crates and so on, each one of which has got some sort of component material that's required for provisioning. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend about 30 minutes to an hour here accumulating as much as I can, and this is going to basically kick off provisioning and will give me the momentum I need to max the skill out as quickly as possible on this character. Or any character for that matter. Now the completion rewards for provisioning are quite substantial, so it's very, very much in your interest to be doing them on as many characters as you can per day. Get all 8 of your characters doing provisioning writs, and you'll find for every completion that you do, you'll get the gold that you're expecting. You'll also get a whole big bunch of materials as well, in stacks of 5 or 10. I've had up to 30 materials in a day. Plus you will also get a recipe for every time you complete relevant to the tier of completion. So if you've been doing tier 1 writs, you're going to get tier 1 recipes. You find you're going to complete the recipe requirements for all your various faction writs very, very quickly if you do it this way. Now, just like alchemy, you do not need to complete or create the item on the character that's accepted and handing in the writ. As long as the item has been crafted, any character can take that item and it can hand it in to complete a writ. This is a list of all the possible tier 1 provisioning writ combinations per day. Every day you take a writ, depending on your faction, your writ will be one of the 3 combinations below listed here today. So these are the recipes that you want to get at least 1 copy of. Give them all to your main provisioner, let them learn these recipes. And a perfectly valid tactic is to make a stack of each one of these food items and drop them in your shared bank. This way, each day that your other alts accept the provisioning writ, they can go straight to the bank, withdraw those. It'll update their journal straight away and they can turn that writ in. If you're going to be concentrating all of your characters in the same alliance, then you only need to learn 3 of the recipes listed up here right now. Obviously, if you're going to be spreading your characters out across the different alliances, you'll need to learn other groups of 3 recipes, but the reward speaks for itself. Every time you complete a writ, you'll be picking up a substantial amount of materials plus recipes every day. One of the advantages of having characters spread across the different alliances is you may find that you can't complete on one day with an Aldmeri Dominion character, but you may be able to tick all the boxes for your Ebonheart Pact character. That one's able to complete the writ, can hand it in, will get the rewards, and there's a chance that the recipe that you loot, because you'll always loot to the tier that you've crafted your writ for, it's going to be the one that's going to tick the box with that Aldmeri Dominion character. The more characters that you've got spread across different factions, the more writs you're going to complete, the more recipes you're going to get, and it's going to help you fill this list of boxes pretty quickly. The other option is you can go to the guild store and try and to any guild store across Tamriel and try and buy them. Some places tend to do better than others when it comes to recipes. You shouldn't be paying more than 25 to 75 gold for a green recipe anywhere. So if you're looking at something that's 500 gold, remember where the vendor is just in case, but I'd look around. Even after you've maxed out your provisioning, food remains one of the most vital components to the leveling of your characters in the Elder Scrolls. And as you unlock blue and purple tiers in your ability set, you'll find that when you complete your writs, there's a chance that you'll actually loot blue or purple recipes each day once those writs have been handed in. Now, in regard to recipes, if you're going to be going out there and you're going to be buying these recipes rather than waiting for them to drop in your daily rewards, you really need to be running an add-on called Awesome Guild Store. It will let you filter down and search for recipes with a minimum of fuss, and you won't have to keep typing those strings in every time you go to a new vendor. Look, the most visually straining exercise I've done in this game is trying to shop for recipes. The default interface for guild stores in this game, look, I have to say it, it's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish, especially if you're looking for one thing and a whole stack of things. It's looking for a needle and a stack of needles. So get Awesome Guild Store. There's a link up here right now. I've got to a video of other add-ons too that you might also be interested in. Make your life a better place. If I want a baked potato recipe in Awesome Guild Store, I can just type in baked or a partial string, run a search, and it'll tell me if anything comes up into that category. In this particular store, nothing at the moment. What I can also do is just take the text filter out altogether and just run against unknown recipes at the moment, and this list comes up starting from 27 gold each. So I can go through and I can start accumulating just for the sake of being able to get recipes. They're going to help me produce. Look, if you've got the extra money in your pocket, do it. Go through and buy as many of these as you can. For green recipes, you don't want over T4 if you can help it. T5, T6, just not worth it. You're going to be at least on blue, but you should be on purple recipes by then anyway. But this will get you started, and this is starting to move us into a position where we can start thinking about maxing our provisioning. Now, I'm from that generation that still understands pen and paper technology, So not what I'd normally do at this point is I'd go through and I'd take an inventory of whatever resources I've got for provisioning in excess. So at the moment I've got 220 corn, that goes on the list, 224 fish, that goes on the list, a whole stack of flour, we're good for garlic, we're good for ginger. Ginkgo, that's a good number that'll get me through. Same with ginseng. Anything from about 120 plus in quantity is going to be useful for us, and when it comes to maxing out. Got an enormous amount of honey, and a lot of tea and a lot of alcoholic beverages require honey, plus some food recipes too, so that's a good one to have. Isinglass doesn't hurt to have as well. And once I've got this inventory of items together that I've got in large quantities, what I tend to do is go down to a guild store and I start buying recipes that are going to allow me to use these materials in quantity. A single recipe at a particular tier, at a particular level that I can spam, that's going to give me enormous gain when it comes to moving my provisioning forward. Now, like I mentioned before, you're looking for recipes generally around every 5th level, and in the higher ones, as long as the quantities are good, then every 10th level, because the experience gain is enormous. And from there, we can start building up a profile and a path on how we're going to build. Now, once I've found those recipes that utilize those that don't cross over, you don't want 2 recipes that share the same resource, because the first production production cycle using a material is going to deplete it significantly. The second time you come around, if you're depending on that to get you through a tier, there's not going to be much left. So what I'm doing is I'm basically building a path of recipes and components every 5th level to kick off, because your experience gains aren't so high. Until I get to about level 25 and 30, and then from there the whole path streamlines very, very quickly. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with, let's have a look here, flank steak. I've got multi-craft installed as well. If you saw the alchemy part of this video, you'll know what that is. This will let me craft 79, so I can click that button. And I'm running multiple monitors at the moment, so I could just go to another monitor right now and watch an anime or do something else while I wait for that operation to complete. Now, watch your level gains. I'm 50 at the moment, so I'm not going to see anything. Once you hit the next tier, you want to stop this operation. I just press escape and that cancels it. Then be going into your provisioning from the craft skills menu, and then adding in your relevant skills. Chef is a good skill to have, add that straight away. The big one's recipe improvement. This is the level of recipe. It's the one that's going to allow you to craft up to a max level, and at the moment I can craft up to veteran 15. But you'll notice that until you put a point in this, you'll cap out on tier 1 recipes. You may be able to learn the higher tier recipes, but you will not be able to use them until you add a point that unlocks that level for you. And again too, as you go, unlock the chef and brewer skills, toss points into those. And what will happen is every time you produce something, you'll get more in quantity, which means that once the operation's complete, walk straight over to a vendor somewhere in this tavern right now, sell all that stuff off. You're not going to consume it, you're not going to use it. However, you will get a healthy amount of money back from selling them, 300, 400, 500, 600, depending on the tier of the recipe and the quality of it and all that stuff. And you may even find that just the money that you get back from selling that stuff off will cover your costs. This covers provisioning in alchemy. If you've got any other tips that I haven't covered in this, or any other techniques that have helped you max these skills out any faster than what I've shown, please, for the benefit of everybody else, add them to the comments down below. Any feedback that you've got, any way that this has been useful for you, I love comments, so don't be shy adding those. If this guide has made your world a better place in any way and streamlined you when it comes to maxing out your provisioning in your alchemy, then don't be afraid to like this video. Please, by all means, subscribe too.